The courtroom felt like it was holding its breath. The air was thick, pressing against my chest like a vice, as if even the walls knew the truth was about to destroy something sacred. I gripped the wooden bench so tight that the grain cut into my palms, grounding me in the moment I wished I could escape. Across the room, my wife, Laura, sat perfectly still. Her face calm, her hands folded neatly in her lap, like this was just another day, another appointment, not the end of our life together. Before I tell you what happened next, if you've ever trusted someone so completely that their betrayal cracked you open from the inside, make sure you subscribe. Because what you're about to hear isn't just my story, it's what it feels like when love turns into proof. The judge's gavel hadn't even fallen yet, but I already knew. 6 months of suspicion had led me here, 6 months of nights where Laura came home smelling faintly of cologne that wasn't mine, her laughter quieter, her gaze distant. I'd told myself I was overthinking. That she was stressed from work. That marriage gets hard sometimes. Because that's what love does, it convinces you that pain is just patience wearing a different face. But the truth started small. It always does. At Sophie's 5th birthday party, Mark, Laura's co-worker, showed up. Uninvited. I told myself it was nothing, but when he bent down and Sophie threw her arms around him, calling him Uncle Mark, with the kind of ease that only comes from familiarity, my stomach twisted. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept replaying Sophie's curls, her smile, the shape of her eyes, how none of it seemed to match me anymore. That's when fear became obsession. I started noticing everything, the way Laura tensed when I mentioned Sophie's eyes, how she avoided any talk about the future. One night, I did something I still hate myself for. I took a strand of Sophie's hair from her brush. One from Laura's. And I mailed them off for a DNA test. I told myself it was just to quiet the noise in my head. But deep down, I already knew the storm had started. The envelope came 2 weeks later. Just a small, white lie folded inside a plain sheet of paper. 99.9% probability of non-paternity. I read it 3 times, each word hitting harder than the last, until the world blurred and I could barely breathe. Sophie, my little girl, wasn't mine. And Laura had known. I sat in the car outside the post office for a long time. When I finally walked into the house, she was in the kitchen chopping vegetables, calm as ever. "You're home early," she said without looking up. "Laura," I managed, my voice barely a whisper. "We need to talk." She froze. Her knife hovered midair. "Sophie," I said. "She's not mine, is she?" Her eyes met mine, glassy and wide, and for a heartbeat I saw the truth flicker there, guilt, fear, regret. Then her shoulders sank. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Who?" I asked, even though I already knew. "Mark," she said, her voice cracking. "It was one night. A mistake. I was drunk. A mistake." That word broke me more than the test results ever could. A mistake had a name. A heartbeat. A laugh that called me Daddy every morning. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to scream. But all I could do was stand there, hollow, while Sophie's laughter floated in from the living room, bright, innocent, untouched by what was breaking between us. Weeks blurred. Tears, fights, silence. Laura begged for forgiveness, said it meant nothing. But the damage had already been done. You can't rebuild trust when the foundation's been swapped for lies. So I left. Filed for divorce. Packed my life into boxes that smelled like her shampoo and the echo of our home. And now, here I was, sitting in court, waiting for the gavel to fall. The judge's voice cut through the silence. The DNA evidence confirms that Mr. Daniel Harris is not the biological father of Sophie Marie Evans. The words hit like a final verdict on love itself. Laura broke then, her body shaking, her sobs echoing through the room. I should have felt vindicated. I should have felt something like victory. But all I felt was loss. Not just for Sophie, but for every morning I'd spent believing I was her father. For every bedtime story, every hug that felt like home. The judge kept talking, legal terms, financial details, but I didn't hear any of it. I was somewhere else. In that house. On that porch swing. Listening to Sophie's laughter. Wondering how something that pure could come from so much betrayal. As the gavel came down, I looked at Laura one last time. Her face streaked with tears. And I realized something painful but true: I didn't hate her anymore. Because hate still means you care. I just felt empty. When I stepped outside, sunlight flooded my eyes, sharp and blinding. Somewhere out there, Sophie was waiting, still calling me Dad. And maybe, no matter what the papers said, that was still who I was.